Welcome, tactical enthusiasts, to our deep dive into the absolute peak of modern warfare. For over a decade, the Iron Dome has stood as an unbreakable shield against falling rockets. It forged an illusion of total safety, a masterpiece of algorithms saving countless lives. But what happens when the ultimate shield faces a deadly weapon that shatters known physics? Enter the hypersonic missile, a nightmare of plasma and speed designed to completely crush it. Since its first combat deployment, this legendary system has rewritten the rules of the sky. Radar stations continuously scan the horizon, watching for the slightest trace of a launch. When a crude rocket is fired, it follows a highly predictable and simple ballistic curve. The Iron Dome computer instantly calculates the exact impact point with stunning precision. If the threat targets an empty desert, the system simply ignores it to save precious resources. But if a populated city is at risk, an interceptor missile is launched within seconds. The Tamir interceptor cuts through the dark night, actively hunting its fast-moving target. It detonates its warhead near the incoming rocket, destroying it completely in midair. According to military experts, this brilliant defensive network has saved thousands of lives. It successfully neutralized over 90% of all short-range ballistic artillery. This massive success reshaped the entire modern philosophy of asymmetric warfare. Nations began to believe that a perfect technological dome could secure their borders forever. Yet every mighty fortress in human history eventually falls to a stronger weapon. Across the globe, rival superpowers quietly developed a terrifying new weapon. They needed a delivery system capable of bypassing the most advanced radar networks. The answer was found in the extreme manipulation of atmospheric physics and raw speed. Hypersonic glide vehicles were born to shatter the illusion of absolute aerial defense. Unlike traditional rockets, they do not follow a predictable arch into the high atmosphere. They are built to stay low, skimming the atmosphere's edge at truly incredible speeds. When these two completely different philosophies of war finally clash, who will be the victor? Will the calculating artificial intelligence of the Iron Dome hold its sacred ground? Or will the raw kinetic fury of the hypersonic missile burn the defensive shield to ash? To fully understand this epic battle, we must break down the core mechanics of each system. Defense relies entirely on the ability to predict the future based on the present data. Attack relies on chaos, ensuring the defender cannot process all the variables in time. Let us examine Round 1, the ultimate technological race to calculate trajectories. The Iron Dome operates like a brilliant chess grandmaster, anticipating its opponent's moves. As an enemy rocket ascends, radar waves bounce off its metallic hull to capture its velocity. Within milliseconds, complex software processes the data to draw a massive virtual arc. This mathematical curve predicts exactly where the projectile will inevitably land. Knowing the destination, the system launches a Tamir interceptor to that precise location. The interceptor does not chase the rocket. It actively flies to where the rocket will soon be. It is an elegant ballet of numbers and physics that works flawlessly against simple weapons. However, the hypersonic vehicle completely ignores the basic laws of gravity. Launched by a massive booster, it travels into space before diving back into the atmosphere. Once inside the upper atmosphere, it detaches and begins its terrifying horizontal glide. Traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 5, it covers vast distances in the blink of an eye. Speed is not its most lethal feature. Its true power lies in its extreme agility. Unlike a standard ballistic missile, it can violently change its flight path at any moment. It violently zigzags through the air, crushing any mathematical attempt to predict its path. If the Iron Dome radar cannot draw a stable curve, it simply cannot fire an interceptor. The entire algorithmic foundation of modern air defense becomes completely irrelevant. If your enemy changes the rules mid-flight, how do you defend what you cannot even predict? Historians note that warfare always evolves when an unstoppable force is created. Round 2 exposes the second critical flaw of traditional air defense: radar detection range. Because the Earth is curved, ground radars cannot see targets hidden below the horizon line. Intercontinental missiles fly into space, making them highly visible from far away. But the hypersonic weapon deliberately stays low, hugging the Earth to hide itself. It remains completely invisible to the radar until the very last possible moments. By the time Iron Dome sensors finally detect the incoming threat, it is already too late. This brings us to the knockout blow, the terrifying reality of reaction time in modern war. When a threat travels at thousands of miles per hour, every single millisecond is vital. Imagine standing on a battlefield and seeing a bullet already flying right toward you. Even if you are the fastest human alive, your brain simply cannot process the action in time. This is the exact dilemma facing traditional air defense networks when confronting extreme speed. The radar sends the warning signal, but the mechanical launchers cannot turn their heavy metal gears. The Tamir interceptor needs time to ignite its engine and gain the necessary altitude. Facing a target moving at 2 miles per second, physical machines are far too slow to react. The extreme friction creates a terrifying phenomenon called a protective plasma stealth shield. As the weapon tears through the sky, the air around it becomes superheated to thousands of degrees. This blistering heat creates a localized cloud of ionized gas, completely surrounding the missile. This glowing plasma sheath absorbs and scatters incoming radar waves like a digital black hole. Even if the defending radar looks right at it, the system might see absolutely nothing. The defender is blinded, desperately fighting a highly lethal invisible ghost. Once the interceptor is launched, it requires continuous guidance updates from the ground station. If the plasma blocks the tracking data, the interceptor flies completely blind into the dark. In simulated war games, the results of this clash are devastating for the defenders. The hypersonic weapon quickly pierces the Iron Dome, leaving the targets totally exposed. We arrive at the ultimate historical verdict of this breathtaking modern showdown. Does this mean the legendary Iron Dome is useless, and should be dismantled immediately? Analysts say absolutely not. Its primary role remains undeniably vital today. In conflicts against insurgent forces using cheap rockets, it is still the undisputed king. It provides a massive psychological and physical security blanket for civilians. But the nature of global warfare is rapidly shifting back to great power competition. When facing advanced nation-states equipped with hypersonic arsenals, the shield reveals its deep cracks. The harsh truth is that physical interceptors cannot keep up with the exponential growth of speed. If we cannot catch a bullet with another bullet, what must humanity invent to survive? The answer lies in replacing physical machinery with the absolute speed of light. A new arms race has begun, funneling billions of dollars into directed energy lasers. Laser defense systems do not need to calculate complex paths or worry about gravity. They point at the target and deliver a concentrated beam of destructive thermal energy. The beam hits the missile instantly, melting its electronics in a fraction of a second. High-powered microwave weapons can fry the internal guidance circuits of any incoming threat. These futuristic systems represent the evolution of the ancient concept of the shield. History warns us that for every new shield created, a stronger spear is eventually forged. Perhaps the next generation of hypersonic weapons will be coated in reflective mirrors. Or perhaps they will carry electronic warfare pods to jam the defending microwave beams. The cycle of military innovation proves that the battle for the sky will never truly end. As long as nations seek dominance, engineers will work in the shadows to break the rules. The Iron Dome gave humanity a brief glimpse into a world fully protected by machines. But the fiery streak of the hypersonic weapon reminds us that no defense is permanent. We stand on the edge of a terrifying new era, where speed dictates the survival of nations. The battlefield is no longer confined to regional borders or basic unguided rockets. It encompasses the entire globe, demanding instant decisions from automated defense grids. Welcome to the future of war, where the unstoppable spear meets the unbreakable shield. For the citizens sleeping under the glowing Iron Dome, the night remains quiet and safe. But the military commanders know that a much darker storm is gathering just beyond the horizon. They are actively preparing for the terrifying day when the sky itself becomes the enemy. In secret underground bunkers, the brightest engineers are desperately racing against the clock. Every global power understands the brutal and cold mathematical reality. Hypersonic flight has fundamentally broken the delicate balance of strategic deterrence. The age of slow, predictable warfare has officially ended in a flash of blinding light. We are now stepping onto an unprecedented battlefield where speed alone dictates survival. Will the majestic Iron Dome be remembered as the last great physical defensive wall? History clearly shows that the endless struggle between the spear and the shield is truly eternal. As the tactical sand table resets itself, a new, terrifying piece enters the deadly board. The glowing plasma trails of hypersonic weapons will forever dominate the dark skies above. Defenders must now look toward the stars, harnessing the raw, absolute power of lasers. Invisible waves of microwave energy will silently clash against hypersonic metal. This spectacular, invisible war of frequencies and heat is the ultimate defense challenge. The majestic Iron Dome has bravely served its purpose, buying humanity enough time to adapt. But tomorrow's wars will be fought and decided in fractions of a single millisecond. As the hypersonic era dawns, will traditional air defenses become obsolete relics? Or will laser technology rise to counter this threat? Drop your tactical thoughts right below. If you enjoyed this in-depth strategic breakdown, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more.